Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. Alright, today we are going to take a quick look at Crypt of Chaos, another small box game here. This game was provided to me, sent to me by Crystal Dagger Games. So thank you guys, I appreciate that. This game I would say is in the same, kind of the same grouping as Bag of Dungeon and Dungeon Breakout. It is a super simple little dungeon crawl game where you are moving through a dungeon, a labyrinth, a maze, fighting monsters, getting treasure, avoiding traps, and hoping to escape. So this game is probably even maybe a little simpler than Bag of Dungeon. Like a lot of these small box dungeon crawl games, I do wish there was maybe one more layer of complexity to them. Maybe a little module that you could introduce that would introduce something more than just moving and combat. A lot of these small box games do seem to just focus on the moving through the dungeon, fighting monsters, and getting loot part of the dungeon crawl adventure game genre. And they often forget about the other things that we like to do in the games. And that's okay, because ultimately what these kinds of games are they're like playing solitaire with a deck of cards. You know, people who are really into card games sometimes just like to chill out and relax in front of the television with a TV tray or something like that, take out a deck of cards and play a game of solitaire as a kind of unwinding activity. And for me, that's where a game like Crypt of Chaos, that's where a game like Bag of Dungeon or Dungeon Breakout or these super simple games, that's where their sweet spot is. And as a game of kind of dungeon solitaire as an activity, I think this is a pretty good one. There are some neat things about this game. There are a couple things I don't like. I do wish that it just, like I said, I do wish it had one little layer. And I think I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think a game like this could do to introduce something like that. So one thing that it is a little weird about the game is it has quite a few different art styles going on. The rule book and the box make it look like very much like a pulp adventure game with the Dare You Enter and even the Crypt of Chaos font here. It looks very pulpy, and that's kind of cool, almost like Secrets of the Lost Tomb or something. But then you get to the character art, and the character art is very much like realistic, high quality kind of modern fantasy art. So there is a little bit of a disparate styles competing for your eyeballs' attention in the game. It would be nice to see maybe a more cohesive, singular vision for the art. I am reminded of a Rogue Dungeon in that sense. But what does Crypt of Chaos say here? No dice, no pens or paper required. Everything you need is in the box. Explore a different crypt every game. Crypt of Chaos is an exciting adventure game set in a creepy crypt, crawling with creatures hell-bent on preventing you from reaching your goal. The mysterious treasure you seek lays hidden somewhere deep within the twisting catacombs, guarded by giant spiders, crypt crawlers, goblins, trolls, wraiths, and even, it is said, a dragon. To find the treasure and escape the crypt, you will need a flexible strategy, nerves of steel, and all of your wits about you. Draw cards to reveal floor tiles, then position them to build and explore the crypt. Search treasure chests and use weapons, armor, potions, and tools to help you avoid traps, battle monsters, and navigate obstacles. Easy to learn and fun to play with almost infinite possibilities. Dare You Enter? So Dare You Enter, you have the little instruction book here. It is a pretty well written instruction book. Very easy to learn the game. I had no issues at all. There are ways to play. The main way is solo. You can play co-op with another player. And then there is also a kind of an alternate mode of playing called Chaos Mode, where you aren't actually looking for loot. You actually start with all of the equipment that you have, and you have to make it through your adventure using only that set of equipment. So that is kind of a cool little bonus game mode. So what you're doing is in the game, you're going to pick one of 6 characters. You have the Archmagana, the Mage, Bellblood, the Orc, Evanlith, the Forest Elf, Vixenblade, the Warrior, Wolfhowl, the Barbarian. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with Carl Wagner's Kane series, but there are PDF versions or ebook versions available on Amazon for those. And this reminds me of one of the covers of that Kane. I don't know if it's the same actor or not. There, it does look. These do look like they are digitally touched up photos. I'm not sure if they are. They might be. And then Cryantha, the Dark Elf. And so each one of these characters is going to have different stats on the back here. You're going to have a little story about the character. The enigmatic mage merely nods his acceptance of the challenge, keeping his reasons quietly to himself. He wraps his robe tightly around himself and enters the crypt. And then each of the characters is going to have a certain number of health, an attack bonus, and a defense rating. And then they are also, each one is going to have a special ability, special item or skill or ability that they can use throughout the adventure. And then if you are playing in chaos mode, down here it tells you which items to look for in the item deck, and then that is going to be your equipment loadout for that adventure, and you will ignore all other treasure chests and loot. So as you can see, the stats are somewhat different. There's not a huge variety in stats. The special abilities are where the characters really differ, but as you can see, Wolfhowl here, the Barbarian, has 20 health. He has a +2 to his attack, and compared to the Barbarian or the Mage, who has an 18 health and then a +1 to his attack and a +1 to his defense. The Mage, their special ability is the Mage is taking no chances and is wearing his magical robe of Rock Troll invincibility. He may pass rock trolls and search any treasure chests they guard, completely unnoticed by them. So that is one of the more powerful monsters in the game, is a rock troll. So the mage can simply ignore those rock trolls. And usually monsters are guarding treasure chests. The last game I played here was as the Dark Elf, and she's really good at avoiding traps, and that comes in handy. One thing I have noticed in the game is that it is quite difficult to heal. So you are always on the verge of death, it seems. So you're going to pick one of your characters, then you will take a pawn to represent your character, and then you will take your dungeon deck here. You will take your starting tile and turn that over and place your pawn there like so. And then you have different levels. You have levels 1, level 2, and level 3. You shuffle those and then stack those together. And what you are trying to do is you are trying to build the dungeon, look for treasure, killing monsters that guard the treasure, get that treasure, and then you need to find the lost sword and the key of freedom. The lost sword is a yellow treasure. The key of freedom is a purple treasure. You need to take both of those items and eventually find the exit tile here, where you have to fight this dragon with those items to escape the dungeon and win the game. So you're going to give those a shuffle. You will give the level 2s a shuffle. You will give the level 1s a shuffle. And then this is your stack of dungeon tiles here. And then you start by exploring. There are a number of different actions you can take. Here you can explore, which is you reveal the next dungeon deck card, moving to any available floor tile that has a free connection, and then placing it. You can choose to enter that new floor tile, or you can remain where you are. You can move to a new space, you can fight a monster, or you can search, revealing a treasure chest. So we were to explore there, we would find an empty corridor. We could explore here, and you can orient these in any way. So we would do that, and then as you can see, this has a picture of a monster and a treasure chest. So you also want to take the treasure chest decks. So you have your yellow treasures. These are the cutest little tiny cards. These are like mini cards. These aren't cards for hobbits. These are cards for hobbit children. But hey, they work they work pretty well. I've never seen a game with this small of card before, and I kind of like it. Right. So you're going to find this monster. First, you're going to take a green treasure chest because it's on the card there. Put that there. And then you're going to take one of these. This is a Crypt crawler. And you're going to take this monster card there. It's going to tell you how much health the monster has and its attack value. And you're going to put that on top of the treasure chest. Then when you move into this space, you can initiate combat with that monster. and you have to kill that monster to get that treasure. And combat is relatively simple. It doesn't use dice, it uses a deck of cards. Each time you initiate combat, you're going to shuffle this deck of cards, and there are +2s, +1s, misses, +3s, +1s, and +2s. And the monster also have a deck of cards which have +1, +1, +3, miss, +2, and miss. So the monsters have 2 misses. So the heroes will always attack first. Let's just say that I was playing as this dark elf again. And so I would attack first by drawing the card, and I get a +3. So you would simply add that to your attack value. You would also add that to any weapons that you have, like this Skull Crusher mace. That's the only weapon there. I think there's 1 weapon in each level of treasure, and there is also some gloves that you can give you defense. You can get some boots to help you avoid traps. There's a thumping club. So let's say I just had that thumping club, and I rolled, or I drew this +3. My character's attack value is 0. That gives me a 1, so that's a 4. So I would do 4 damage to this crypt crawler. You have these little tokens here that you can keep track of how much health the monster has left. So they had 5, I took it down 4, so it has 1 left. You also have a stack of health chits there that you can use for your hero. And now it's the monster's turn to attack. He has a attack value of 2. The monster draws a card, and they miss. Nice. Okay, so got lucky there. But let's say the monster did hit, so +2 would add that to there is 4. I have a defense of 1, so I would take 3 hit points worth of damage, and so on. Then once you kill the crypt crawler, you turn that over to its dead side, and then you can take an action to search the chest. You can look at it. Oh no, it's a gas trap. As you open the chest, a cloud of poison gas blows straight into your face. Lose 3 health. But the dark elf here, her special ability is the dark elf casts a spell of awareness on herself and suffers only -1 damage from all traps. If she finds the amulet of awareness, I think that's a green treasure there, she takes no damage from traps. So I would only take 1 health damage from that gas trap. But there are other things in here, like there's the amulet of awareness. There's a small potion to gain 1 health. There is a axe of picking, because there are some cave-ins that you need a pickaxe to move through. And the boots of bounding, those boots help you jump over these pit traps. So those are the 2 traps in the dungeon. And there are a couple. There's a gas trap and I think a crossbow trap. But as you can see, there aren't a lot of potions. There's only, I think, 1 potion per deck of treasure. And it's very hard to heal. There are no like healing fountains or anything. So I've found the game quite difficult to win. I've played 3 times and haven't won yet. I'm sure it's possible, but just know that it is definitely stacked against the hero, I believe. But overall, yeah, you're just going to be moving through the dungeon, building the dungeon as you go, and then moving to deck 2, moving into deck 3, hopefully finding those 2 items, and again, wanting to find that dragon, kill the dragon. The dragon has a health of 20 and an attack of 5, so again, it is no joke there. And then you win the game. So yeah, that's it. It's a simple little game, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just know, if you're going in wanting anything a little more complex or a little more story driven or a little more something with an emerging narrative, you're not going to find that here. This is, like I said, a very simple kind of dungeon solitaire card laying game. One way that I think games like this, games like Dungeon Breakout or games like Bag of Dungeon, could up the level of complexity a bit and offer up some cool story elements without a lot of overhead in terms of components. And I say that this would be easy to do, not in that it wouldn't take any effort, but it wouldn't take a ton of more stuff to put in the game, and that would be to follow suit from Dark Venture and include a book like this size full of random events that certain tiles trigger, and then maybe you roll on a chart. So maybe you move into one tile and you are told to to roll on chart C. And so you could turn to a page, chart C, roll a d6, draw a card or something, and then have a little kind of emerging narrative, some kind of non-combat event, some kind of NPC you can meet, a little puzzle, just a little layer of something else, a little spice to add on top, because these simple dungeon crawl games like this, they have the basics down: moving through a dungeon, fighting monsters, getting loot, but they lack that special spice, that special added layer of the more complex games that people like us really like. So if Crypt of Chaos came with a little book like this, a book of tales that you could read, that of charts you could roll on, of things you could experience in addition to what is going on the table, I think that would really elevate this game to a certain level, and it would be a much more desirable experience for me. But as it stands, this is a game that I wonder if I was in the mood to play something this simple, would I turn to this, or would I just pick up my phone and play any of the super fast and easy kind of roguelike dungeon crawls on my phone, or a match 3 kind of fantasy game like Puzzle Quest or something like that? You know, would I choose something like this over a simple phone fantasy game? I'm not sure. This is easy to throw in your bag. You could take it on a travel trip. You could take it anywhere. It's super easy to learn, super easy to play. It doesn't take up a ton of table space, and you can have fun with this. But just know going in that its level of complexity is very, very low, and just depending on what you're looking for, it might scratch that itch, it might not. So that was a look at Crypt of Chaos. Dare you enter? Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we will talk to you later. Bye bye.